So, the French Grand Prix. Before I get into my reaction to it, let me know what you thought of it. Do you think it was a great race? Did you think it was a race where that was an improvement on the previous races we've had at Paul Ricard? And do you think the championship battle is over? Because I've got some good news and bad news. So stick around if you want to hear that. But the race itself, my reaction. Max Verstappen with a great win. Pretty much standard win as soon as Charles retired. And he could just relax, take out less energy on himself, reduce the stress on the power unit, the tyres, and save himself for later on in the season, because he didn't have to worry about anyone challenging him. You know, initially on the hard tyres, when the safety car came in, Lewis was sticking, like he stayed within 5 seconds of Max, which is a good effort. But again, obviously Max was probably saving the tyres, saving the engine, and not really doing much to try and extend the gap. But Max was only in that position because Charles Leclerc retired. And I'm seeing there's a bit of debates online whether it was actually because of Charles that he crashed, or was it that throttle issue that he had in Austria. Because on the radio he's talking about the throttle. I don't know whether it was in reference to causing a crash or not being able to reverse out the barrier or something, but he did mention a throttle, if I heard correctly. But he went out to the media, said it was my fault, I own up, I take it, it's my responsibility, I crashed. So is it a case of the reason for the crash is different to what Charles is saying? Because maybe Ferrari told Charles, you better not tell the media, you better not tell the wider world that the throttle issue came back up and caused your crash. You better not tell them, because we'll get the brunt of the force of backlash. You better take it onto your shoulders and protect the prancing horse, because we ain't taking no nonsense. Yeah, that's probably what Ferrari told Charles in Italian. You know, you better bear the brunt of the responsibility and keep us out of it, because it was your fault, not ours. That's probably what they told him, if it's true that the stock throttle caused the crash. But who knows, Charles will probably reveal the reason for the crash, if there was another reason for the crash, maybe later on in the season or in a couple of years. But at the end of the day, he crashed, he's out, 68-point gap or something in the championship. The bad news is the championship is probably over. 68 points or so is a massive gap. That's a fat gap to have. That's a chunky gap to have for Max Verstappen. He can just, I wouldn't say chill, but he can race knowing the fact that he has a sizable lead, and he doesn't have to force an overtake. He doesn't have to force into going to first place, into going into second place, into taking third place, stuff like that. He doesn't have to force it. Yes, he wants to win as many races as possible, finish ahead of as many people as possible, extending the gap to as much as possible, because you never know. He could have 5 DNFs in a row. Who knows? Highly unlikely, but who knows? But he can race knowing that the pressure is not on him, per se, to close the gap. It's on Charles, it's on Ferrari. Yeah, so he's pretty much won the championship. He's going to win his second championship. I think we all know this. It's a matter of fact. It's inevitable. He's going to win his second championship. He's got like 27 race wins already, which is crazy. But don't forget, he's been in F1 for almost 10 years. So you can't treat him as, oh, he's this young buck. He's experienced now, and he's now getting those numbers slightly early in terms of age, but pretty much bang on in terms of years in F1. So he's on track to be getting maybe 50 wins, 60 wins in F1. So we'll see how that progresses over the next 5 to 10 years. But well done to Max Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton getting second place. Great drive by him, pretty much faultless, other than the fact that he went wide at the exit of turn 2 on one of the laps, which caused the gap to go up to like 5 seconds. But yeah, other than that, it was a faultless race, because he overtook Sergio Perez at the start. He stayed ahead of him despite the Mercedes lack of straight line speed, which was interesting, because with George as well, why was Hamilton and Russell able to stay ahead of Sergio even though they had no DRS and had a straight line deficit? It leads me to believe, does Sergio had something different on his car to Max or something, or were both Red Bulls always like equally fast in the straight, on the Mistral straight? Because it's kind of weird, because even with the DRS, I mean, yeah, his tyres were maybe falling off a bit, but even Verstappen actually trying to overtake Leclerc, he couldn't really do it. He wasn't even in a position to try and make Charles defend like Russell was with Sergio. So it's kind of weird. And people are even saying online that Red Bull may have given Sergio the updated floor that's legal and not the flexi floor, which I mean, that's a conspiracy theory level that we're getting into, but I don't think that's true. And even if it is, they must have told him. If they didn't, then I mean, come on. It's just the fact that the development of the RB18 is going towards Max and not Sergio. It was always going to happen. Sergio shouldn't act surprised. If you're acting surprised, you're a naive man, because you should. It's always happened at Red Bull. Look at Webber and Vettel. Look at Max and Ricardo. Ricardo left before it even really impacted him. Yeah. Look at Gasly. Look at Albon. Red Bull is built around Max, just like Ferrari was built around Michael Schumacher. Just like McLaren was built around Lewis Hamilton for those, mainly 2008 and 2009. You know, so he should not act surprised. If you act, me, I'm younger than Sergio. I knew the Red Bull were eventually going to develop the car away from Sergio and towards Max. And number one, Max is even faster than you, so you shouldn't be surprised. You really shouldn't. But yeah, I'll get to Sergio. Lewis, great race. And look, man, it's like he's got his mojo back. The GOAT has got his mojo back. I think what happened in Abu Dhabi and the fact that the Mercedes wasn't good enough was a double whammy. And he probably thought, yo, why am I doing this? Like, why should I bother? This car's trash. I can't try and rectify what happened last year. Can't win my 8th World Championship. Like, I can't avenge myself. Well, why should I bother? And look, got the podium in Bahrain, but then between then and Canada, it was like pointless for him to race. But no DNFs for him. He's managed to close the gap to Russell. He's managed to go up the standings, and now he's 6th in the championship, I think. So Lewis has been doing well. George Russell, great race by him. First part and then the halfway stage of the race, he was kind of nowhere, closing on Sergio a bit, but he wasn't really challenging him. He didn't have the pace of Lewis, but he started catching Sergio, and like when Sainz overtook him, and then he came alive. Like, it's one of those things. There's such a maybe small gap between the both drivers that you can't really close in, and so you'll need to have DRS or just be close enough to be able to see where he's slower and where you can try and take him. And that's what happened, you know. Russell was given the opportunity to get closer to Sergio because Sainz overtook him and they had that little battle. And I mean, George, I think that initial attempt at the overtake, I think that was a bit much. I think it was a bit much. Sergio couldn't really give him more space. And credit to Sergio for being aware and backing out when he did, because look, George, you're saying the letter of the law says that he should have given you the place back and you were entitled to the corner. But if the stewards didn't do anything, I mean, well, what more can you say? You know, the stewards aren't really that good, but yeah, what can you do? We move on to the virtual safety car, and I'm telling you, this is top 10 most embarrassing moments for an F1 driver I've ever seen. Honestly, Sergio looked like a flipping kid. He looked like an idiot. When George is at the airport and the security tell him to empty his pockets, he's gonna have his car keys, his house keys, his wallet, his phone, and Sergio Perez, because he made him look like a kid. He made him look dumb. Sergio coming out and saying, "Oh, there was a virtual safety car glitch. The FIA sent a second message or something," and apparently that message went to everyone as well. And he was the only one that we know of that was caught out. And George even played him before that. He played him before that. This is actually what I do in the F1 game. It's actually crazy. You build up a gap, or you allow a gap to form to the guy in front, because they'll be close to the limit and stuff, and they'll have to keep braking, accelerating, whilst you leave maybe half a second gap, maybe a second, depending on the track. And you just, when it says safety car ending, you just zoom, you just accelerate and hope that you've timed it well, because you have the momentum and the guy in front will have a lack of speed. That's what I actually do sometimes in the F1 game when you can. Do it for the pit stops, you do it for the virtual safety car, you do it for the safety car. George did it in real life. And it worked. Because that's the thing, it will either make you look dumb or make you look like how he did on Sunday. Like, great. He made Sergio look like an idiot. You know, he baptized Sergio there. So, credit to George Russell. He's now showing he's got the racecraft, he's got the consistency, and he's got the intelligence. He's got the IQ. That's something Fernando Alonso would do. Seriously. You know, so credit to him. Third place, first double podium for Mercedes this season. Which is, look, again, Mercedes, you're third in the championship, over 200 points, I think, with the car that they have. Yeah, it's the third fastest car, but it's like nowhere near the top two. It's like they're in no man's land. You know, it's so weird. Like, they've managed to get all those points, and with a car that's not that good. So you can obviously see that Mercedes do have the best driver lineup. They actually do. You know, two consistent drivers, when on their day, can battle Max Verstappen, can battle Charles Leclerc. Seriously. Mercedes, man, that driver lineup is different sauce. It's different sauce. I mean, you've got a 7-time world champion and a future world champion in your team. Red Bull have Max, got Sergio, who's a sideman, and Ferrari have got Charles, who's a potentially future world champion. Well, he should be a world champion, but he's got the bozo DNA in him. Whereas Sainz is not really at that elite level. He's missing that 1 or 2%. So that leaves Mercedes. Mercedes have the best driving lineup, seriously. So, look, man, Sergio, man, you need to hang your head in shame. You can't have your kids seeing that. You really can't. Now, you may think I'm exaggerating it a little bit and stuff, but come on. You had track position. All you had to do was concentrate, try and stay ahead of the game, preempt what could have happened, cover your lines. If you're confused by the glitch, maybe try and ask your team what's going on. They sent me a second message or something. Or, I mean, like, come on. Like, if George was able to do something, you should have been able to do something. Because it's so insane that this guy's blaming a glitch for him lacking the... He went to sleep, okay? He went to sleep. I'm kind of ranting here. He went to sleep. And, like, come on. Sergio, you cannot blame this on a glitch. It was all you. If everyone had the same message, then it was down to you. You're wearing sunglasses in the pen like you're about to cry. Like, you miss out on the podium because you have been off the pace all weekend. You got battered by Lewis at the start. You got outsmarted by George Russell after the virtual safety car. You cannot complain. You just can't. Hide your tears, regroup, try and attack Hungary and do something. But I think we all know that Sergio's going nowhere this season. He's not going to improve much. The car is now firmly in Max's territory. And yeah, look, it's getting from bad to... I don't know what he expected, but it's getting from bad to worse for Sergio. He went from challenging for wins and pole positions to now sulking and being outsmarted by George Russell in a slower car. Yeah, that's a big L for Sergio. I think that must be L of the weekend for Sergio. Like, yeah, it must be L of the weekend. You have Carlos Sainz. Now, Ferrari, you guys are a bunch of stupid idiots. You guys are literally a bunch of stupid idiots. First of all, Sainz says he wants to pit. Then you say stay out. Because, yeah, at the time, it made sense. It made sense to stay out because you have a 5-second penalty. And also that, I don't know why Sainz took so long to take off in the pit lane. In the pit box, sorry, after his pit stop. You know, so, yeah, 5-second penalty was completely deserved. That was a bad release. And, look, Sainz said he wanted to pit. Team says no, stay out. Okay, fine. Then I think they asked him again something or whatever. And then he's catching Perez. Because he said he can't catch these guys. We need to box. And then he actually caught them. And then he's battling Sergio. Listen to this. He's battling Sergio. He's in the midst of a war right now. He's battling him. Ferrari. Look, Ferrari. Can you please explain this? How are you asking your driver to pit whilst he's battling with another driver? Are you not looking at the screens? Are you not looking at the track map? Are you not looking at the GPS? What's going on? Are you guys blind? It just gets worse and worse. These guys have been doing it for 12 years. Don't think it's just this season. They've been doing it for 12 long years. It's been a long recurring thing. 2010 Abu Dhabi, they cost Fernando Alonso a world championship. Because of them, Fernando Alonso did not win the 2010 World Championship. I'm being serious. Because of the botched pit strategy, he got stuck behind Vitaly Petrov in the Renault and could not overtake him. This was before DRS, before Kurz, or kind of after Kurz. Kurz was banned for 2010 and came back 2011, but that's neither here nor there. He couldn't get past him. That's the fact of the matter. If Ferrari had a better pit strategy that day, he would have won the World Championship or come close to it, very close to it. Instead, they gave Vettel a free run at it. And Vettel didn't even lead the championship at any point that season until the last race, until he won that race, you know? So that just shows you, Ferrari, bunch of stupid idiots. You're strategists. Bonotto, you're acting hard on Leclerc, you need to act hard on your strategists. They're pathetic. They are pathetic. You cannot have these kind of people deciding your strategy. It's either your software is trash or the people running that software is trash. It's inexcusable. Yeah, obviously it didn't cost him a win because he wasn't in the battle for a win, started at the back of the grid, stuff like that. But surely the tyres would have made it. Surely Sainz could have just relaxed, built up the 5-second gap and then relaxed a bit, gone towards the end. Because if they didn't think the tyres would make it, why would you not pit him earlier then? When you asked to pit, why didn't you just say, you know what, just finish the tyres for the next 2-3 laps, then come in and they will give you another set of mediums and you just push on those, try and get as close as possible. Instead of leaving him in like 10 laps to do something. What on earth are you doing? You know, so Ferrari, man. And also Sainz, don't defend Ferrari. I mean, obviously he's gonna, it's a PR, he's gonna try and defend them, not actually throw them under the bus, etc. But deep down in the debrief, he has to tell them, yo, the strategy is pathetic. You're telling me to stay out, and then a couple of laps later, you're telling me to come in whilst I'm battling Sergio. He's telling them, not now, not now, not now. I mean, come on, man. Come on. So, yeah. Well done to Sainz, though. Getting P5. Could have been P3, but it is what it is. Fernando, a great drive for Alpine. Fernando, like he's one of the smartest drivers on the grid. He wanted Norris to be close to him so that he could destroy his tyres, and that's pretty much what happened, I think. He ended up finishing 10 seconds ahead of Norris, so that plan worked, and the Alpine seems to be faster than the McLaren right now. I think naturally it is faster, it's just that Lando is out driving that car, getting 7th place. Daniel Ricciardo did well to get 9th place. Esteban Ocon 8th, great recovery drive after qualifying and then the contact with Tsunoda. And Lance Stroll getting 10th place. We need to talk about Stroll. We need to talk about Lance Stroll, because Lance, I accept the fact that you want your engineer to be quiet, then not disrupt your flow and stuff like that. I understand. But the end of the race, how are you braking mid-corner and your teammates behind you? How are you doing that? Why? Like, that just shows you how desperate he was for that point. He wanted to go to his dad. Oh, dad, I beat Sebastian today. I got a point. I got the team's only point this weekend. I did better than him this weekend. I mean, come on, man. Come on. That's disrespectful. You're doing that to your teammate. You're just braking mid-corner. Almost made him crash into you. I think Vettel was pissed after the race because he didn't. I had a radio message or radio transmission. The only words Vettel uttered was about what engine position he should put the engine in when he was in the pit lane. That was it. He didn't say, "Great job, guys." He didn't say anything other than what engine position should I put the engine in. That's it. Just no noise whatsoever. I think he was really pissed. And maybe not just that Stroll, maybe the race itself. Maybe he thought he could get a point or two, but strategy was trash. Maybe he wasn't happy with his performance. I'm sure the Lance Stroll antics probably tilted him over the edge. So yeah, he got 11th place. And yeah, I want to talk about George Russell, because he lost his head and he whined for like 2-3 laps. I said it for Max and I'll say it here. You cannot have a whining phase longer than 1 or 2 laps. You can't. The fact that your engineer, or in George's case, Toto Wolff, had to come in and say, keep your head down, don't lose your head, hunt him down. That's really bad, because you need to keep your emotions in check. You're in a car driving 200 miles an hour. You cannot afford to be distracted. You need to focus on the job at hand and get the result. You cannot whine for whining. Okay, it's natural, but you cannot do it excessively. 1 or 2 laps, that's it. You cannot afford to lose your head. He kept complaining even after the race. Look, you've got the podium, it's fine. Obviously, in another scenario, he may not have got the podium. He may have felt like he was screwed by the FIA or by not giving Sergio a penalty or something, but that's not what happened. He got a podium. He should just accept it, talk to them at the driver's briefing in Hungary, and move on. You got a podium. You got to overtake down. You made Sergio look stupid. Move on. This excessive whining is not necessary at all. So yeah, my driver of the day is Carlos Sainz. Because, again, great race. He was potentially screwed over by Ferrari and their strategists. Could have maybe got 3rd place. Could he have built up that 5-second gap? Maybe. Sergio was struggling on the tyres. He was struggling for pace. But he went from 19th to 5th. So great result for him. Honourable mention for Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso. And then we move on to worst driver of the day goes to, taking everything into account, it must go to Charles Leclerc. It has to go to Charles Leclerc. It has to. And I'll give you why. You are probably trying to go for a 1-stop. It could have worked. And it could have forced Red Bull to do a 2-stop to try something different. To go on to start on mediums, go into hards, and go back on to mediums whilst you stay on the 1-stop and have the hard tyres for the rest of the race. That could have forced Red Bull to do that. But it didn't happen. You know why? Because you made a mistake. And because he's owned up, I'm not going to go hard on him saying, why are you dodging the bullet and stuff like that. But you cannot make these mistakes at this level, man. You cannot. And because of that mistake, the championship is pretty much wrapped up. You had a win in your lap. You had a win in your hands. You threw it away. And he knows it. He knows it. And he had faith that he would be able to get back into the championship fight, like really close to it and stuff like that. But look, it's not happening for him. Championship is over. That's the bad news. The good news is we could see some great battles between Ferrari and Mercedes. And look, Sergio looks like he's falling into the clutches of Mercedes. It's looking really bad for him. So look, he was an honourable mention. I know George Russell made him look stupid. But Charles, man, like, that was a colossal mistake. We're halfway through the season and you've made a colossal mistake. You've made 2 mistakes Imola and here, and you bottled the race win, you bottled the lead, you gifted Max a win, and like, come on, man, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. So he needs to really dig deep, find another way. Like, he talks to a therapist or jock clear or something, but he needs to find another way, see if there's another method to try and sort these things out and take them out of his driving. Because yes, he drives at the limit, he's extremely fast, almost as fast, if he's probably as fast as Max, but Max has the crucial differentiator, and that's he does not make mistakes. Charles Leclerc makes mistakes, and he makes them at the worst time possible, you know, so he has to be worst driver of the day. All that effort by Sainz, being the number 2 driver for this weekend, effectively because of the grid penalty, and just thrown away. All the effort by the team, all the effort by Sainz, all the effort by himself, thrown away in that 5 seconds. So unfortunately for him, like, at least Charles has the mental fortitude to come back from that. Sebastian has not recovered since that 2018 crash in Germany. He hasn't recovered. Did he even win a race since, like, in that 2018 season? Did Sebastian even win a race after that Germany crash? Or was it just all Mercedes and Red Bull? I need to check that out, because Sebastian hasn't recovered from that. And also, look, Charles has gone through a lot of stuff in his life. You know, his dad dying, Jules Bianchi dying. And to get through all of that, to get into F1, to join Ferrari in your second season, win all these races, get these poles, it's incredible. You know, it's incredible. But he needs to really bury those mistakes that he has. He needs to get rid of them. But yeah, next race is Hungary, one of the best tracks on the calendar. Yes, it may not promote like extremely good racing, but there's been good races there, you know. For example, 2014 Hungarian Grand Prix, 2013 Hungarian Grand Prix. What else? The last year's race as well, the mixed conditions. And I'm hearing there may be rain there, but check out my preview, which will be coming out in the next few days, and to see my preview, to see my analysis of the weekend coming. So yeah, this is quite a long video, my longest reaction video, but yeah, trying to fit in more information, more analysis into these videos and not condense them under 10 minutes. But yeah, if you enjoyed, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Again, let me know what you thought about the race. Do you think Paul Ricard should stay on the calendar as a result of like how it's interacted with these cars? Because I'm going to be honest here, the racing was better, but it wasn't as easy for drivers to overtake. I think the Mistral straight chicane issue has rolled over from the last generation of cars to this generation of cars, because it was still a bit difficult for these guys to overtake. Like, Russell had to overtake Sergio because Sergio was sleeping, you know. Hamilton got his overtake done when Charles crashed and he overtook Sergio at the start. Max couldn't overtake Leclerc. So does this track deserve to come back on the calendar? Because it's not going to be next year. So my ultimate question is, should Paul Ricard stay on the calendar, or should it just be gone forever? Because I think it's a below average track. Obviously, Monaco is the worst track. He needs to go, but so does Paul Ricard. So yeah, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Adios. Enjoy your day. Goodbye.